Thunderbolts officially coming to the MCU, we have decided that we are going to talk about who we hope could and or should show up on this team of not so morally sound characters. I'm Adam Andrews with Top 10 Nerd, and this is the top 10 Marvel villains we want on the Thunderbolts. Number 10, Baron Zemo / Citizen V. We know for almost a fact Zemo is going to be involved, but in the comics, after the heroes had been put into an alternate dimension thanks to the whole Onslaught thing, Baron Zemo was devoid of purpose with the loss of his greatest foes. So instead, Zemo hit upon the idea of turning a group of villains into masquerading as heroes as the Thunderbolts. Zemo himself adopted the alias of Citizen V, a 1940s adventurer slain by Zemo's father. Now, using this newfound trust and equipment, Zemo nearly succeeded in taking over the entire world, but the Thunderbolts, the rest of them at least, wanting to continue as heroes, mutinied and Zemo barely escaped. Now, given the huge events of Endgame, with the Avengers kind of ragtag and fractured, plus whatever may take place in Secret Invasion, it seems that the MCU Zemo could be up to something similar. I think it would be very interesting if he did indeed don a different masked identity, like that of Citizen V, as part of the team. It's a bit silly though, so maybe not, but it would be cool. Number 9, Doc Ock. Now, in the current comic iteration of the team, Dr. Octopus is sitting nice and snugly upon it. I'm almost certain everyone loves Alfred Molina's iteration of the character. It would be cool to see him in another Marvel movie, but his character's arc is done, and it would just be strange to pull on it more and more. So maybe even a new version of the character played by someone else should appear. The only thing I'd say is that it would take some explanation, and we don't want to bog down a movie with explanations. I also think that a new Doc Ock should not be introduced in a team-up movie. If they were to bring him in, I think he would need to be established at some other point in a different movie or show. I'm not really sure how it would be done, but it's just one of those things I think it would be cool to see. Number 8, Juggernaut. Just like Doc Ock, Juggernaut is also a character who appears in the Thunderbolts at some point. Now, assuming that the Deadpool movies become MCU canon, we do have a version of Juggernaut there that didn't and doesn't really require that much explanation. Okay, he maybe would need a little bit of rework. It's his connections to the mutants that is the real problem here, even if he himself is not a mutant. But again, just like the last point, figuring out how to make it work naturally is the real trick here. My only real gripe with Juggernaut is that he would play a kind of tank or bruiser role on the team, and there is someone fully established and currently showing up more and more in the MCU that could easily fill that role without much of an extra explanation. Number 7, Abomination. Emil Blonsky, aka Abomination, played by Tim Roth, made his MCU appearance as one of the first ever MCU villains in The Incredible Hulk. Now, one of Marvel's one-shots later confirmed that he was locked away in a top-secret S.H.I.E.L.D. base, and then he got a full-blown cameo appearance in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now Blonsky is set to appear again in the Disney Plus series She-Hulk. These continuous MCU appearances make Abomination's odds of sticking around in the MCU seem fairly high, and I'm all here for it. There is also the fun little tidbit that the World Security Council originally wanted Abomination on the Avengers, so it wouldn't be surprising to see him recruited to the Thunderbolts by whoever is in charge. Number 6, US Agent. John Walker, played really fantastically by Wyatt Russell, initially arrived in the MCU as the government's Captain America replacement in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show. Walker proved himself to be less than heroic though. In fact, he was more of an antagonist to Sam and Bucky than anything else. By the series end, Walker is other than honorably discharged from the military, self-injected with the super soldier serum, increasingly unstable, and approached by the Contessa about donning a new mantle, US Agent. These shady goings-on seem to make him an excellent candidate for the Thunderbolts team, although in the comics, US Agent was never actually part of the Thunderbolts and actually fought against them on a few occasions. I don't know, we don't really care. I could definitely see him and Baron Zemo definitely butting heads over leadership as well. Number 5, Taskmaster. Antonia Dreykov. It may be a name from the MCU that kind of flies over your head, but she was the woman under the mask of Black Widow's Taskmaster, and she could very easily be part of the Thunderbolts. Taskmaster is a skilled mercenary, with ties to the Red Room in the MCU, but there are also comic book reasons for the character joining the team. Although he didn't stick around for too long, Tony Masters, the comic book secret identity of Taskmaster, did help train new recruits to the Thunderbolts initiative run by Norman Osborn. With the ability to perfectly replicate any fighting style playstyle or move, Taskmaster's powers are an ideal skill set for any mission the Thunderbolts go on. Also, it would be nice to see the MCU's version of Taskmaster move to a more comic book accurate role. Also, the actress who played Taskmaster in the MCU, Olga Kurylenko, is a fantastic actress and she got like 0 screen time or lines, so that seems like a bit of a missed opportunity. Number 4. Wilson Fisk. I almost completely forgot that Wilson Fisk is now MCU canon after he showed up in the Hawkeye show, and that means a whole ton of stuff can happen. While I don't really see Kingpin suiting up and joining a fight, I can definitely see him being some top brass, pulling some strings and working in the background a bit, which wouldn't be terribly different from his comic counterpart. Wilson Fisk in the comics was the mayor of New York when he pulled together a team of Thunderbolts. With Daredevil ramping back up in the MCU, I think it would be an excellent time to have Fisk getting his little scheming fingers in the pot as well. Number 3. Ghost. First introduced in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ava Starr, aka Ghost, played by Hannah John Kamen, was set up as the villain but ultimately proved to be more of a misunderstood anti-hero. Ghost has been part of multiple Thunderbolts teams in the comics, so it wouldn't be surprising if Marvel Studios chooses to stick to the source material. Hannah John Kamen has already expressed interest in being part of the team, and I'd certainly like to see more of this ever-talented actress. Ant-Man and the Wasp already established the fact that Ghost worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. on covert missions, so it wouldn't take too much to have her part of this newly government-sponsored Thunderbolts team. She has been quite the ghost since her initial debut, so I'd like to at least know where she's been. Number 2. Yelena Belova. The sister of Black Widow, Yelena Belova, played by the ever-lovely Florence Pugh, came in and partially stole the show in both Black Widow and the Hawkeye series, although that is debatable. Although she is not really a villain, Yelena's past as a Russian spy and graduate of the Red Room could keep her from initially being viewed as a hero by the general public. On top of that, Yelena's appearance in Hawkeye under orders from the mysterious Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine set up the possibility of her continuing in an anti-hero or spy kind of role, which would likely lead her down the Thunderbolts path. In the comics, Yelena has been a part of the Thunderbolts, although that was at a time when Natasha had taken her identity and used it to infiltrate the team run by Norman Osborn, but I digress. And in at number 1 is Deadpool. No, he isn't a villain really. Again, more of an anti-hero, but I mean, he just kinda sits neatly on the fence of bad and good, but usually good. We are relatively certain that Deadpool is coming to the MCU soon, and he was a part of Red Hulk's Thunderbolt team. Now, I'm not sure how it would feel to have him make his MCU debut in the Thunderbolts movie as part of a team. They might need to explain that, and I find that having a team-up movie with characters who need lengthy explanations does detract from the movie a little bit. Eternals, I'm looking at you. But despite that fact, I would absolutely die if Ryan Reynolds just shows up with the Deadpool costume and being Deadpool, all he has to do is literally say that the studios finally let him be in the MCU. And not only would that be in character, no one would complain about it. I wouldn't. Okay guys, this list was a mix. Some characters we think are likely to show up, plus a little bit of my own personal wants and desires. So it would be fun to hear what you guys also think down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're here at Top 10 Nerd 2 if you want to. I've been your host Adam Andrews, check me out on Instagram, and until next time, thanks for watching and peace out nerds!